Hello! In this module, we are going to continue our discussion of egoism. We're going to be looking at a powerful argument for descriptive egoism and getting some other concepts that are involved in that argument that are important, even separate from their use in that argument. And then we'll finish off by looking at ethical egoism briefly in this module. So let's quickly review where we are. We've been talking about egoism and altruism. In egoistic action, that's whatever most benefits the person doing it. An altruistic action is the action that most benefits everybody. Sometimes those are the same, but often they're not. The egoistic action would be lying or breaking a promise or hurting someone, things like that. Altruistic action would be keeping your promise, helping someone, and so on. The selfish is you would do whatever most benefits yourself at cost to others. The selfless does what most benefits others at a cost to themselves. So egoism is intending to do whatever most benefits yourself, and therefore including, although not always, but including the selfish action. Altruism is intending to do whatever most benefits everybody, and so sometimes doing the selfless action when there is one. So descriptive egoism says that each person is an egoist, and so they do every purely egoist action, so they always do what is best for themselves. And if that doesn't mean hurting others or not helping others, no problem. But if the thing that most benefits the egoist is what might also harm others or not help others, they'll do it anyway. That doesn't bother them. Any way in which they benefit others or don't impose costs on others are coincidences. And this is a claim about what people actually do and not what they should do. We'll look at ethical egoism, which is a claim that people should be egoists at the end of this module. So in the previous module, we're looking at this argument for descriptive egoism, which says that you always do what you most want to do, and you always most want to do what is most in your self-interest, and therefore you always act selfishly, doing what is most in your self-interest. And we've been focused on asking whether or not this second premise is true. It seems like it's not, because it seems like we have altruistic motivations. I am motivated to help somebody else, and so I want to do something that is not in my self-interest when we think of wants in this broad sense, just meaning whatever you're motivated to do. And so the descriptive egoist needs to say that this appearance of altruistic motivation, well, at first, initially the descriptive egoist has trouble even acknowledging that there are these altruistic motivations. They think, look, if it's your want, it's your motivation, so when you act on it, it's selfish. But this confuses who has the motivation with what the motivation is towards. When it's my motivation, it's moral motivation, then it's to help or respect others. So it's mine, but it's targeted towards others. So the descriptive egoist says, oh, well, okay, you're right, it is targeted towards others. Sort of, actually, it's not, because actually it's not only is it your motivation, but it's really to get good moral feelings for you and avoid bad moral feelings for you. And we saw that this is not such a plausible line. That insofar as you care about other people, that itself is an altruistic orientation, and also that when people sacrifice themselves in different ways or sacrifice their interests, they may be getting some good moral feeling out of it and avoiding some bad moral feeling, but it's still overall a cost to them. And so even though they may be getting some benefit or avoiding some cost in terms of moral feeling, the action is still altruistic because the cost to them is greater than the benefits provided by the moral feelings. And so the third defense of this premise, the descriptive egoist premise, is that the reason why we have these moral motivations, it looks like it's to benefit others, but actually it's to benefit ourselves, to get benefits from society for us. And that's what we'll be focused on. So the philosopher Thomas Hobbes, writing in the 1500s? Yeah, the 1500s, wanted to suggest that our actual altruistic, actions that look altruistic are actually egoistic. Why? Well, because they preserve our standing in society. And Hobbes wanted to suggest that. And we also see in the reading from Plato, that's what Glaucon is suggesting. And if we were reading the rest of the Republic, which is what that Plato selection is from, we would see that Glaucon doesn't actually believe it. But Glaucon suggested, and Hobbes believed, that when we act in ways that look like they're benefiting others at a cost to ourselves, actually those actions overall benefit us because they preserve our social standing, and that social standing is very valuable. So why is social standing so valuable? Well, to understand that, we're going to need to talk about something called the social contract and the prisoner's dilemma and cheating and our reputation in the social contract. So that's what we're going to be looking at in this module for most of this module. So let's get to that in the next video. We're going to start by learning about the prisoner's dilemma.